There's a quiet kind of thunder in the footsteps of a woman who walks through her front door alone. No one calls out to greet her. No one questions where she's been. And yet the air sings with the sound of her arrival. This is not the life of the abandoned, the discarded, or the forgotten. There is a sacred stillness in the life of a woman who has learned to sit with herself. In a world that teaches women their value lies in being needed, chosen, or claimed, she defies it all by choosing herself first. Her silence is not sorrow, it is sanctuary. Her aloneness is not a void, it is a vessel filled with her own voice, her own dreams, her own decisions. Society often tries to define a woman's worth by her relationships. If she is single, she is questioned. If she is childless, she is pitied. If she lives alone, she is whispered about. But what they do not understand is that solitude is not a punishment. It is a proclamation. It says, I am enough for myself. It says, my joy is not borrowed, and my peace is not purchased with companionship. In solitude, she rises without needing applause. She works not to impress, but to express. There is no performance in her daily living, no mask she wears at dinner, no shrinking to make space for anyone's comfort. She moves with a grace that is not rehearsed, but remembered from generations of women who once walked alone through fire and rain and still carried the sun inside them. Her home does not echo with absence. It breathes with freedom. She walks through her own doors without explanation, dances in her kitchen because the song is hers alone, and sleeps in sheets warmed by her own strength. She is not untouched by desire or love, but she is untouched by the desperation that makes so many settle for less than they deserve. In solitude, she faces her fears and learns they are not monsters but messages. She listens to the sound of her own heartbeat and understands that life is not about filling space, but embracing presence. The woman who chooses solitude does not lack intimacy. She has it with her soul. She does not beg for attention. Her light draws it. She does not chase belonging. She creates it wherever she stands. Solitude is not emptiness. It is where she reclaims her name, her worth, her rhythm, and her power. It is not quiet because no one is there. It is quiet because everything that matters already is. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes that she does not need permission to exist fully. Not from her partner, not from her parents, not from the world that taught her to shrink. She steps into her own space, not because someone opened the door for her, but because she unlocked it herself. That is the beginning of freedom, the kind that does not ask, does not wait, and does not apologize. A woman who lives without a man is not seeking rebellion. She is practicing self-authority. Every decision she makes is her own. What time she wakes, how she speaks, what dreams she chases, and what company she keeps. These are not negotiations. They are declarations of selfhood. She is not caught in the push and pull of someone else's approval. She is anchored in her own knowing. There is power in not asking for permission. It means she wears what she wants not to please the eye, but to honor her skin. It means she chooses work that feeds her spirit, not just her pockets. It means she eats what she craves, laughs when she feels joy, cries without shame, and rests without guilt. Her life is her canvas, and she paints without fear of who might disapprove. This kind of freedom terrifies people. It unravels the rules that were made to contain her. When a woman lives without a man, she becomes a mirror, reflecting back to others what they've never dared to become. She is not against love, but she will not trade her soul to obtain it. She is not against men, but she will not be ruled by them. Freedom without permission does not mean she walks alone forever. It means she walks with intention. Should a partner arrive, he must meet her where she already stands. Not rescue her, not mold her, not fix her. She is already whole. What she wants is not someone to complete her journey, but someone strong enough to walk beside her without needing to lead. Her freedom is not loud or boastful. It's in the way she walks through a room like she owns her presence. It's in the way she says no without explanation and yes without guilt. She is not asking to be allowed. She is already here, and she has claimed her place. There is something unsettling to the world about a woman who belongs to no one, a woman who walks untethered, unmarked by ownership, and unburdened by expectations, is often seen not as powerful, but as dangerous. Because when a woman does not seek validation through being chosen, she becomes a force that cannot be contained. An unclaimed woman answers to no one's timeline. She is not measuring her worth by age, relationship status, or the opinions of her family. She does not chase titles like wife or mother to feel complete because she already is. That kind of wholeness threatens systems built on the idea that a woman needs someone else to define her identity. People call her intimidating when she speaks with clarity. They say she's cold when she sets boundaries. They wonder what's wrong with her when she chooses solitude over chaos, peace over performance, and self-respect over compromise. What they don't realize is that she has walked through enough fire to stop fearing the heat. The world prefers women who are easy to predict, quiet, agreeable, dependent. But the unclaimed woman is not here to perform. She is not here to make herself smaller for comfort. She is not here to fill someone else's script. Her life is her own, and she writes it in bold ink, not pencil. She will be questioned for her choices. People will wonder why she is still alone. Some will assume she is bitter, broken, or too much. But those who see her clearly will recognize something else. She is free. Not the kind of freedom granted by others, but the kind she carved out for herself when she stopped waiting to be chosen. The unclaimed woman does not resist love. She simply refuses to beg for it. She will welcome partnership if it aligns with her values, but she will never trade her power for proximity. She has sat at empty tables and learned how to feed herself. She has listened to silence and heard the voice of her own soul. What the world fears most is not her loneliness, it is her liberation. Because a woman who does not need to be claimed is a woman who cannot be controlled. Loneliness is often used as a shadow to frighten women into settling. They are told that to be alone is to be unwanted, to be unworthy, to be forgotten. But the woman who has tasted her own solitude knows better. She understands that loneliness is not her enemy. It is dependence that seeks to steal her strength and chain her to the fear of not being needed. A woman who lives without a man is not unfamiliar with silence, but her silence is not hollow. It is healing. She has learned to sit with herself without needing to be distracted. She knows how to hold her own hand, how to wipe her own tears, how to calm her own storms. It is not that she does not feel the ache of absence. It is that she no longer lets that ache dictate her worth. Dependence whispers that she must find someone to complete her. It teaches her to be agreeable instead of authentic, to stay small rather than stand strong. But this woman has outgrown those lies. She has faced the nights when no one called, the mornings when no one checked in, and she has still risen with grace. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. The truth is, she would rather face her own quiet than settle for a presence that dims her light. She would rather eat alone than pretend to be nourished by shallow connection. She would rather be her own sanctuary than build a life around the unstable foundation of needing someone else to make her whole. She does not reject love. She simply does not idolize it. She welcomes companionship that honors her truth, but she does not collapse in its absence. She is not lonely because she lacks a partner. She is whole because she no longer needs one to survive. That is where her strength lives, not in resistance, but in the freedom to choose without fear. Dependence taught her to fear being alone. But now she sees clearly, being alone is not a punishment. It is a privilege. In it, she finds her rhythm, her resilience, her voice. And with each step she takes in her own direction, she reclaims the power that dependence once tried to steal. There is a quiet, unshakable dignity in a woman who depends on no one but herself. She rises with purpose, moves with certainty, and builds a life crafted by her own hands. Self-sufficiency is not something she learned by choice. It was born from necessity, carved out through years of being told she couldn't, and proving over and over that she could. She has felt the weight of responsibility rest solely on her shoulders, and instead of crumbling, she stood taller. She has paid her own rent, carried her own groceries, fought her own battles, and tended to her own wounds. No one taught her how to do these things. Life demanded it, and she answered. Her independence is not arrogance. It is a shield formed through resilience. The world may look at her and see hardness, but that is only because they have not witnessed the softness she grants herself when no one is watching. She can fix a leak, manage her finances, navigate a crisis, and still find time to light a candle and breathe in the silence of her own company. Her strength is not cold, it is calm, it is not loud, it is lasting. She doesn't need to be rescued. That doesn't mean she doesn't desire connection, but she refuses to become small just to fit inside someone else's life. If a partner comes, they must add value, not carry her. She is not waiting for someone to provide her a life. She is building one, brick by brick, and she knows the cost of every stone. There is sacredness in knowing that her survival does not hinge on anyone else's support. It allows her to love freely, not desperately. It frees her from the performance of dependence, from the fear of abandonment, and from the illusion that her value is tied to being taken care of. Self-sufficiency is not about isolation. It's about sovereignty. It's about knowing that even if everyone walks away, she will not fall apart. She trusts her instincts, honors her needs, and listens to the quiet voice within that says, "You can handle this." That voice is her compass, her armor, her most loyal friend. And because of it, she walks through life not begging for space, but claiming it. There is a common misconception that a woman without a man is in a holding pattern, as if her life is paused, incomplete, or waiting to begin. But the truth is, she is not standing still. She is evolving. She is not a question mark in need of an answer. She is not a storyline awaiting a hero. She is the author, the pen, and the page. Each morning she wakes with purpose, not to fill the silence with noise, but to shape the quiet into clarity. She is exploring herself deeply, uncovering the layers the world asked her to hide. She is not idle. She is blooming. And the world's inability to see that does not stop the unfolding of her spirit. She does not measure her progress in relationship milestones. She measures it in the calm she feels in her own company, in the strength she summons in solitude, in the dreams she pursues without needing someone to hold her hand. She is not waiting for someone to choose her. She has already chosen herself. People will tell her that she's missing something. They will ask when she will settle down, when she will start a family, when she will become whole by someone else's definition. But what they do not understand is that she is already building a life brick by brick, one rooted in self-trust, self-worth, and self-direction. She is becoming in the way oceans shape cliffs, with quiet persistence. She is becoming in the way roots grow beneath the soil, unseen yet powerful. Her transformation does not beg for attention. It happens in small, intentional choices. The boundary she honors, the voice she listens to, the rest she allows herself to take. There is no waiting in her walk. There is momentum, intention, and truth. Love may find her, or it may not, but that is not the point. She is not a puzzle missing a piece. She is a mosaic, complete, intricate, and entirely her own. The world may rush her, misunderstand her, even pity her, but she knows something deeper than timelines and tradition. She knows that becoming is a sacred process. It is not about filling a role, but fulfilling her soul. She is not idle. She is not behind. She is simply becoming everything she was meant to be. A woman who lives alone without a man is not a figure of pity. She is a portrait of power. Her solitude is not a symptom of lack, but a sign of self-mastery. She is not waiting, not broken, not unfinished. She is choosing, creating, becoming. In her stillness, there is wisdom. In her freedom, there is fire. And in her self-sufficiency, there is a quiet revolution. The world may try to define her by absence, but she lives in presence, deep, unapologetic, and whole. She does not fear silence because her voice echoes within it. She does not chase belonging because she has built a home in her own heart. She walks not to be claimed, but to claim herself, every step a declaration that she is enough. This is the truth about women who live alone. They are not lonely. They are luminous. They are not lost. They are leading themselves. And they are not without love. They are filled with the truest form of it.